It is finally that time, folks. It is Slammiversary week. Nigeria Miranda here, and we have our final predictions going into the monumental event this Saturday. And we're excited. So let's get right into today's show right now, folks.
Big old bell, big old bell, big old bell, big old bell. All I really want is that big old bell, big old bell, big old bell, big old bell. All I really need that big old bell, big old bell, big old bell, big old bell. All I really want is that big old bell, big old bell, big old bell.
What's up, everybody? Nigeria Miranda. We're back this week for our weekly Impact Wrestling's Hot Topic weekly review. We're super excited. I'm like kind of bubbling excited because it's Slammiversary week. It's Slammiversary week and it's Money in the Bank week, which happens to be two of my favorite pay-per-views of respective brands, and like I just can't contain myself. But this Saturday,
it's like wrestling Christmas in July. Really,
exactly.
I mean.
Exactly. If they were in the same city, that would just be.
Oh, whoa, yes. I mean, fortunately, there could have been arguments to say that would have been a good thing or maybe a bad thing. But either way, for wrestling fans, it's a great, great weekend. It's also the return of live audiences. And so I also think it's just a little victory lap for fans who've held on through the pandemic, especially, Impact Wrestling fans who have not been at a live show in 16 plus months. To be able to come back at Slammiversary is just fantastic. So we all win this weekend, no matter what we think. We all win.
Yep. I'm so happy. I'm definitely very happy for everybody that's able to attend either show in person. But to kind of focus on things, Impact this Saturday, again, July 17th down in Nashville is Slammiversary, and their world change again. That's the theme this year. And man, I really don't know which way to go. We've been talking about it extensively in the previous weeks, but like even all that booking, strategizing, predicting, whatever you want to call it, it's still surreal that it's this week, this Saturday, and things are going to happen. And I don't really know what to expect. That's why today we're going to play our final week of predicting, where we're going to ask each other, we're going to make one more wild prediction. We're going to ask each other to a question in order to predict what we feel is going to happen. So, Miranda, I'm going to let you start first because I always talk the most. So I'm definitely going to test that.
Is it because you still don't know what your question is? Is that why?
I got my question.
Okay. Yeah. Well, mine's a little bit broader because we've already talked about very specific matches of the past few weeks. So I wanted to ask a question that I think will maybe capture things that we haven't talked about, and that is, who do you predict, who do you think will be the MVP of Slammiversary? So who's going to make the biggest impact? And I'm going to put a caveat, not in the X division, because I think we've already talked about Ultimate X. We've already talked about that being, a favorite of ours and how that could steal the show. So I'm going to take that out of the equation, and I'm going to leave all the rest of the matches and the roster and the talent. But who do you think is going to be the MVP of Slammiversary?
Damn, I should have went first.
I told you.
That is a hard one because I look at the card. And by the way, let me plug this really quick before we go any further. Anybody who plans on watching Slammiversary, if you've already purchased a pay-per-view, good. If you haven't, they released a promo code earlier today that you can get 2 free months of Impact Plus. With the promo code Slammiversary. So there you go. No one's missing this Saturday now. Whether you're in person, whether you already purchased it with Fight or whatever it may be, now you have the promo code. So everybody tune in. this Saturday, 8 p.m. Slammiversary, because we're going to have a lot to talk about next week, but we want to make sure that you're watching it along with us this Saturday as, again, the world changes for them one more time. But I'm not diverting from your question here because that's not what
I feel
do.
like you're kind of avoid, like you're stalling. Are you stalling?
So for MVP, here's how I look at it. You do have people who you are expecting to be the MVP because whenever you look at the big game, the big match, Tampa Bay, you're like, I'm pretty sure Tom Brady's going to put on his best performance and he's going to win MVP as he's done last season for the Super Bowl. So that easily alludes to Sami Callihan for me here. Yeah. But I'm actually going to go a little bit different here. And I'm going to go with somebody who I do not think is on anybody's radar to be MVP or to even be noteworthy to be talked about after his match. And that's W. Morrissey. And the reason I'm going here is because I've really been connected with his promos, his passion. Again, I'm a person who's really high on empathy and all of the things that he's went through and the resilience that he's went through in his personal life and in his professional wrestling career. I think that he definitely has a chip on his shoulder. I feel like his promos are passionate and pure and truly speaks to what he feels. And then I think that it's super safe to work with one of the faces of Impact Wrestling in Eddie Edwards. Yeah. So I think when you're going into a match, when somebody like Eddie Edwards, who's been on every level of stardom with Impact Wrestling, whether he's working, the first match of the night, or he's working the main event, whether he's going after a title, whether he's just, working whatever it is, I think it's safe to say that Eddie Edwards, you know what you're getting. And it's a safe bet every single time. So when you got somebody who really has a chip on their shoulder, who really wants to go out there and perform, who really wants to have that attention to show people that he is worth the hype, he is back. I think that combination is super intriguing, and I feel like he's going to really perform. And I think that when I say MVP, I think when you talk about the storyline of what he walked into this match with, both personal and in Impact, again, the resilience in his career, and then to go out there to actually perform the match, to really put a bow on this storyline and the bow on everything he's been talking, I think he's going to execute. And I feel super confident with that. Super confident.
No, you were reading my mind as far as where I thought, when I was thinking of this question, really the first person that came to mind is W. Morrissey, and almost thinking about what's going to happen afterward, if they continue to capitalize on this. And they've had people do this for less, but he could easily jump into the world title picture after this. I feel like they are building him up to that upper echelon. And as you talked about with storyline, with pure dominance in the ring, but a very interesting character, you have all these pieces coming together, and you kind of have to strike while the iron is hot. So I feel like as someone who still is going to be a little underrated, but also will have some of the biggest impact and kind of pluses coming out of Slammiversary.
What a pun! What a pun right there! Look at you. The biggest impact and the pluses? Like, who are you right
now? I get paid for every time I make these plug puns.
Do share.
Yeah. It's exclusive. It's not really known about. It's a little subliminal. It's a little bit of a different form of marketing. I know I'm actually revealing too much right now, but it's experimental, actually. It's really experimental. But anyways, I feel like a Slammiversary is such a perfect opportunity for W. Morrissey to continue his path, but also take him to the next level. I absolutely believe with that. The other, in this case, a group that I was thinking about was Violent by Design. I feel like the main event this week for Impact Wrestling on Access TV, was surprisingly good. I can't necessarily say I was going in with low expectations, but I thought it was a really, really good match. I believe that it helped set up this four-way tag team match fantastic. And especially that ending stare down between Joe During and Doc Gallows was something very intriguing. And Violent by Design has really been already an MVP on a weekly basis. I feel like they've really injected life into the tag team division, and I feel like they're going to have such an amazing performance and turnout at Slammiversary. So that's kind of my 1B, as you would say, as far as possible MVPs.
Can Morrissey beat Omega? I don't know if that's a question or is that like a statement, but I'm definitely with you on the statement side. The question aspect of this ultimately depends on if what I truly feel is going to happen. If that happens, if he delivers this night, then I think you have to start talking about catapulting him into the main title picture, regardless of the result. So we will see. Randy Sam, how are you today? Thank you for tuning in. We're so excited to talk Slammiversary. Yeah. As if you're just tuning in, we are looking to make our final predictions for this monumental Saturday. Where we're going to ask each other our final questions going into it. Now, here's my question, a little bit unconventional. So I think because we're going super unconventional, we're going to have to come back to the typical questions after this too. Rumors of who's returning and all of the, I mean, right now you're at like 2 puns for the show. Scott D'Amore was at
Scott
like
D'Amore,
6.
yes.
Yeah, so you're reaching his level.
I'm gonna say I mark out over puns. I'm a pun mark, period. So Scott D'Amore got me on this week's episode of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, because when he just started to throw those out there, I was yes.
He's so smooth. He's so smooth.
Smooth delivery. Yeah, all of it. So.
By the way, I saw a couple of people who did some interviews with him. I listened to one. I'm going to need everybody listening to this to tag Scott and say, hey, what's up, man? We're trying to get you on the show. I want to talk to Scott. I met him in person twice, I believe, in really informal conversations. But I would love a chance to be able to, like, I don't want to say like an interview, but definitely like a scheduled chat with him, because I think he's brilliant. And his banter is just amazing. Like, if any point that he wanted to stop wrestling, there is absolutely another career that could use him. And that's Hollywood, because I can see him in movies being just the comedic role and just going full tilt in this.
I think that he's just so intelligent and smart about the wrestling business, both on the front end and the back, because he has that experience at both ends, but also incredibly quick and has just a really keen and sharp sense of humor that makes it makes him really relatable. I think too that comes out across on television as kind of one of the best quote unquote authority figures on television, on TV. I hope he gave TK some pointers on how to be an authority figure, but also possibly likable, but concise. In his delivery of lines and things like that. And I really liked this segment that he had with Deonna Purrazzo with her contract signing, because we've gotten some teasers, of course, with visuals, but as you've been pointing out, and I know you've been missing, last year we had a lot more, MCU type of teasers at the end of episodes.
Yeah.
And we didn't get that so much this year, but that promo or that segment this week was kind of one of the fewer segments that actually alluded to all of the possible people who could show up at Slammiversary in a very fun way. It definitely has the internet buzzing. People are talking about it, because if you know, and a lot of people know, so it's just a fun way to generate interest going into Slammiversary.
Yeah, I mean, anybody again listening, tag Scott. I usually never ask for plugs like this, but tag Scott because I'm definitely trying to have him on the show soon.
Yes.
But let me refer two other questions. I'm gonna ask you my question. How do I feel about they're using Morrissey so far? I mean, great. I think he's exactly where he wants to be. So I think everybody performs best when they are either who they are or some form of a little bit of an extension of who they are. The New Day is the biggest prime example where they tried to bring him in as God's property, and that didn't work. If you don't know who God's property is, that's a Kurt Franklin church little group that he was putting together, hip hop group that he's putting together, and that's where they were kind of presenting him with the whole New Day thing. Then they eventually just became who they are, friends doing friend stuff, and it's been great thus far. And then this other comment, real quick. I don't know if I said this, but I never said that he wasn't a Hall of Fame. I'm just saying that if he ever decided to say, I'm done with wrestling, there is definitely another market that could use him. Yeah. And that's Hollywood. I can absolutely see him being in the movie. And as much movie as I watch, I can see him being a character that will go over so quick that it would be crazy. And I think his pure delivery and regardless of, because I don't know him personally, regardless of if what he's doing is a character or is an extension of him, either way he's nailing it. And I think that's a really good indication of a good actor. So
yeah,
what's up, Damien? I didn't even know you was in here. Yeah, you're right. You're right. All right, let me get to my question real quick. Let me throw this last one because Jason always stops through. What's up, Jason? What are we doing predicting right now? I want to be surprised with Deanna. Well, again, I feel like those are the typical questions. That's why I'm going to make this just a little bit unconventional for Miranda. So there's obviously cases as to people that will be Deanna's opponent and Matt Cardona's partner. Make a case for Daniel Bryan to appear at Slammiversary. Wow. He's been hinted in the videos, and he's been radio silent. Make a case.
You should have gone first because we talk about fantasy booking. This would be completely out of left field, but I mean, Daniel Bryan is known as a wrestler's wrestler, someone who's gone all over the world, someone who's built his career on the foundation of wrestling and not sports entertainment, professional wrestling. And I feel like Impact Wrestling still does have a beautiful blend of both entertainment and wrestling. Man, it's, really kind of if you want to go the more well-known route, what you do is after Kenny Omega wins and retains the Impact World Championship, whether the lights come out or go out or something happens, guess who pops up as, maybe the next challenger. Now that's big, super big, fantasy booking, but man, I mean, would that be something else? I do think you can also make a case for, the X division, because he definitely has that wrestling attitude and persona that's such a perfect fit for the X division. And I think for him, he could go straight into a storyline and chase a title. Absolutely. No matter where he goes. So off the top of my head, that would be kind of the two slots I could fit him in. But yeah, that's definitely a wild card of wild cards prediction of having Daniel Bryan show up.
Look, man, they've been hitting it. And anything is possible. I mean, I'm just saying, Chelsea Green showed up at ROH last week.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, you can say what you want. That's far-fetched. There was no hint on the dirt sheet that was happening. The fact that she's getting put in the tournament. I didn't even really quite think about her and Maria's relationship and friendship. That's a possibility. So at this point now, I just think that anything is possible at this point if you're out of WWE because it's just a different time. So like, I know Daniel Bryan is God tier of wrestlers, but we just don't know. He didn't show up at Best in the World, which he, possibly could have.
Yeah, I was gonna say that if that's Daniel Bryan territory,
It's,
Ring of Honor, best in the world, and it could be just trying to find the right opponents, the right matches, the right place, and he could really go anywhere. So, yeah, I mean, it's so hard to think about that only because of the fact that it would be so out of left field.
yeah.
Impact Wrestling does a great job of teasing people, coming into the company for Slammiversary. But you also know that they throw some some false leads in there just to get fans speculating, just to get the buzz going. They're very smart about that. So like I said, those were my two. I mean, unless he just comes out and makes a type of a prediction, going back to or not prediction, he goes out and makes some kind of challenge, something that we just talked about too, which would be very interesting. And they may revisit is, Daniel Bryan and W. Morrissey. And if he challenges, W. Morrissey comes out.
Hey, I'm trying to tell you, they're acting up in the comments. I got to get some of these read real quick. First of all, Jason, I'm just gonna bring this one back up, bruh. If something happens to your TV, good thing is you can still watch this on your tablet, so you're okay. All right. But this is. I mean, again, in the realm of possibilities. And I'll throw one other really crazy thing. When ROH lobbied for Marty Scroll, you had to think that was them basically saying, we're not going to let you go with your elite buddies in AEW. How are we going to bring you in that it makes sense for you to want to stay? And they gave him booking and a monumental amount of money. They gave him power and dominance. So don't ever think that there's not a possibility that somebody could be pitched, a play could be pitched for somebody to say, yeah, we'll give you booking, creative, scouting, whatever it may be, and a shit ton of money. Here you go.
Yeah, and the ability to work wherever you want. I mean, this could be if you're thinking that big and that out of the box, it would be a contract that they've never done before. They'd have to.
And I'll just say, yeah, I mean, duh. That's obviously what you need to do.
Yes, put it in the background. TikTok that.
Yeah. My little Brody. What's up, Malcolm? Thanks for coming through. Look here. I wouldn't be surprised if they got the Brinks truck ready right now and they're like, look, we need Bryan for, a couple of matches, a couple of appearances, give him a little bit of creative power. And I mean, you put him in Impact, then that does completely allow him to do whatever he wants to do. He can work ROH. And then maybe they do start the partnership. And let's not forget, EC3 was working both at the same time. And then he could work New Japan because that's right now actively happening. And then he could work AEW because right now that is actively happening. And then he can have power in Impact.
Out of all of the national promotions that are working right now, Impact has shown, in front of the screen and behind the screen, that they are willing to work with promotions. I mean, we've talked about even behind the scenes, information came out today, or not today, but just earlier this week about, some ties to the NWA and working with, Kylie Ray's contract. MLW, they're letting MLW use the LAX name. Deanna Barrasso is going to be
Shout out to my man Danny Limelight. Yep.
Yeah, Fabi Apache for the AAA Reina de Reinas Championship. They have threads everywhere. Some are more subtle than others. Some are in front of the camera. Some are behind. But it really is showing that Impact is truly trying to work with as many promotions as they can, as they see fit, as it makes sense. Yeah. So, it's you make such a good point.
I'm leaving this comment out, right? Because right now, I know the Daniel Bryan and Kenny Omega thing is blowing people's minds. Josh Alexander and Daniel Bryan.
That's why.
I will fly to the abyss. I will fly to the abyss to see this.
That's why, as much as I thought about the World Championship, just because he is that type of upper echelon, the X Division, I think, speaks to his wrestling heart.
Yeah.
And, I think that, that match is like, I would drop whatever I'm doing to watch that at whatever part of the world that it exists.
Yeah, 100%. So again, I thought it was an interesting question. I think there's one other thing I wanted to add to that, and I can't remember what it was, but something else. Somebody just let me read the comments again. Something else
Yeah,
that somebody just reminded me of.
man,
And,
I that definitely.
I know what I was going to say. Yeah, to your comment about what Impact is doing. It's like this mentality I got about people who are wealthy and whatever whatnot. If you make a lot of money, you don't go around telling everybody how much money you make. You just live your life, you know, and you can reference that to whatever in life. But in regards to wrestling, I think it's very oddly funny that Impact, who is doing this forbidden door thing, ain't going around saying we're doing the forbidden door thing because they just been doing it. And it's something like I hate it with WWE. It's just like we get it, 205 Live, the cruiserweights, but you don't need to sprinkle them in Barney dust. Everything don't need to be purple. Just let them go out there and do it. And same thing with women's wrestling. If you want women to wrestle, let them wrestle. It don't have to be special attraction feature today. Women's wrestling. And I think this is another case of like they're doing integrations and partnerships, relationships, networking, whatever you want to call it, without having to say, everybody, look at us. We're Impact. And we're definitely working with AEW. We're definitely working with New Japan. And we're definitely doing all these things behind the scenes. They're just doing it. Yeah, and like us as fans, we consume it and we understand it and we appreciate it. And that's just that. We don't need it to be a gimmick and a running gag, sort of to say like, look what we're doing, the forbidden door. And yes, say what you want about that, but that's just how I feel. Anyway, let's go down the card really quickly, really shortly. You give me your winner and any other tidbit you want to add to it. So Matt Cardona and his partner versus Brian Myers and Tenille Dashwood. Who's his partner?
I mean, it's hard to argue it's not Chelsea Green. I mean, they've already teased her, and if it's again, Tenille Dashwood's in that match, like it makes sense.
Chelsea came out at ROH with a cast on.
They'll figure something else. I don't know.
I'm just like I was kind of tracking, and I think she heard it when she was in Hawaii because she definitely didn't have it in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. So I think she hurt herself in Hawaii, and it's legitimately a cast.
Yeah,
and I got a little bit of other thoughts, but that's for another time. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I don't know. Chelsea. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't feel like you don't even need to have her wrestle in the match. Just that appearance, just that shock value. I'm sure they can. Impact has done some quirky things with matches. So I don't know. I just feel like there's just too much history. It's hard for me to think about who else it could be. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with Matt Cardona here, even though I love what Brian Myers and Tenille Dashwood is doing, but because of the wow factor, Matt Cardona, and I don't know, if I'm just like doing matrices here, you got like, Tenille Dashwood, who's Australian, and I don't know, I guess Matt Cardona needs an Australian, so maybe he gets an Australian. That's just one of those iconic ones that's just laying out there.
I feel like there's bigger plans for them. I'm not... I feel like there's bigger plans for them. I'm gonna leave that there as my prediction.
Okay. Plot twist. Look at this one.
Oh, I like that.
Hey Jeff, log off for the day, man. You're done. That's it.
I changed my pick to Jeff's pick. Thank you.
Tell her, yeah. I mean, she's been there, but hasn't been there. So yeah, and then a lot of people have been pitching for her to say like she's in one of these slots. So all right, next match: Eddie Edwards, W. Morrissey. I already talked about it. W. Morrissey for me here.
Yeah, same. W. Morrissey.
Yep. Fire and Flavor: Kiera Hogan, Tasha Steele versus Havoc and Rosemary.
This one's a little bit more challenging. I'm probably gonna say Fire and Flavor retain. But this is where I feel like, some kind of special appearance by two Australians would be such a perfect thing after this match because they were built for the Knockouts tag team division. They could claim to, be the first one to ever be tag team champions in two promotions. And I just feel like there's it's built for them. It is built for them. And so if I think we're going to get any surprise Australian appearances, it has to do something with this match.
Cool. I'm keeping Fire and Flavor retaining too. I like that booking towards the end. That's interesting. This is a no-brainer for me because I'm just a mark for them. But Violent by Design versus Rich Swann, Willie Mack, TJP, Falaba versus the Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, and Carl Anderson. It's easily Violent by Design for me here.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted them being one of my MVPs, and I think they have a long ways to go. I think that they'll continue feuds with any of these teams after Slammiversary. So I can't see them losing right now.
I'm just gonna throw this comment up here too. I don't know just yet. Isn't he hurt? I think because that's why he vacated the title. I think
that's what I.
At this point now, you never know who's like what extent of injury somebody is. But all right, Deonna Purrazzo versus who? Me? It's her versus Mickie James, and she beats Mickie James. I talked about this last week. It has to be somebody that gives her a extra level of notoriety and also can be exited out quick because she has bigger things to do in AAA.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. And same thing with Mickie James. She's busy doing her other things,
Thank you.
working. So I feel like it's a perfect way to bring this one-on-one matchup, a dream match. Deonna will retain and win, and then they go on their separate ways to focus, on their upcoming matches and programs.
I like Alexander Wolf and Impact. I also think I would like to see him do a little bit of a stint on the Indies because I feel like his morale has to be shot considering how he was just kind of like there and then not there. So just a little bit of confidence building.
I was going to say another name that kind of has been thrown out there too is Killian Dane, who has history with Eric Young.
Look, Jason bringing it back from last week. Kong.
Yeah.
I
don't that too. I think if it's not Mickie James, it has to be some kind of big legend name. Like that's where my mind keeps going to.
Yep. Chris Sabin versus Moose. There's no way that this is nothing but Moose. Unless Chris Sabin gets some help from his partner who I would love to see come back. So
I agree. Or unless we start to see a turn in Chris Sabin, I feel like that's been also something that was been teased this week. Is that does Chris Sabin kind of turn to the dark side a little bit, and then in that case, I could see that contributing to a win.
Okay. Moose losing is just something that I just don't think is best for business right now for Impact. But I don't know. We'll definitely talk about that more next week. Now the X Division match. This is the hard one because we gave a whole 30 minutes on this before. Josh Alexander, Petey Williams, Trey Miguel, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Rohit Raju. You first.
Yeah, I feel like I've solidified my decision as to one, and that's Trey Miguel. I just, it was kind of solidified earlier this week when Impact put out a picture of all of the competitors in that match. And the only person who hasn't won the X Division championship yet is Trey Miguel. So I feel like, again, I still stand at the culmination of, his change in character and persona and seriousness and very much the underdog in this match.
I see that's why my opinion changes because that's so true. And I easily think Rohit Raju because he's the biggest wild card factor of it all. He's the person that you like. He's not winning, but Willie,
he absolutely could.
Did he do?
Absolutely could. Yeah. And think about how surprised a live crowd would be with that.
Yeah. I don't know about leaving, but Alex Shelley needs to come back. And guess what? Guess who his best friend is, everybody? Guess who? And it's not Chris Sabin. Guess who his best friend is? Daniel Bryan. Oh, could you imagine? And the main event, Kenny Omega versus Sami Callihan. I ride for Sami. End of story. I don't care about the logistics. I don't care about the Infinity Stones. I don't care about any of this. It is Sami Callihan. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I have a should and will. Who should? I'd love to have Sami Callihan, but who will win more than likely? Because it's already destined in the timeline, and that's Kenny Omega.
That's it. But guess what? Because of that last episode of Loki, there's so many variant timelines out there now. So who knows what happens Saturday?
Well, that's true, but we don't know what timeline we're in, though. What makes you think we're the part of the variant timeline?
Okay, I don't like you anymore.
You're like, oh, she comes back with quips. Yes, I do. I come equipped with quips.
Bye. Well, look, folks, again, Slammiversary this Saturday. We can't wait to talk about it. I mean, we'll clearly have our show next Friday. We will see if we can get something in earlier, because I'm sure we're going to have so much to talk about. It's going to be a crazy weekend for us in general. But definitely, as I always say, definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell if you are watching on YouTube. And if you're watching on Twitter, Periscope, Twitter Live, whatever you want to call it, at BGB Group is where you can find me and Miranda at Chairshot Media. And that way you will know exactly when we're going live on that note. And as always, we super encourage everybody to tune in, chat with us, let us know your predictions. Next week, we're going to want to know your reactions. Tweet us during the show as well. It's going to be a crazy ride this weekend, and we're just happy to be a part of it, because it's going to be something. So, but yeah, that'll do it for this week's episode. Miranda, anything else you want to add really quick?
No, I mean, yeah, let us know your thoughts on Slammiversary. We'd love to hear. Keep sending even your predictions right now. Keep sending those to us, in the next 24 hours, because there's been some really great ideas and thoughts and things I didn't even think about until all of our lovely, viewers have sent them in. So keep those ideas churning. That's
right. Well, folks, we're out of here. We got things to do. We'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Bye-bye.
All I really need, that big old bell.